Hello everyone, this is Alchemisted, and this is once again Star Trek Online, Rise of the Red Shirt, and we are finally at, well, what's supposed to be the end of the Klingon arc, but it's not going to be, but I'll get to that later. City on the Edge of Never and Past Imperfect. Now, this is going to be all in one go. We're going to start on City, this is all going to be sort of the same run-through. I'm going to do it like this is all one mission. So this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to start with City on the Edge of Forever, but midway we're going to switch to Past Imperfect. So this is going to be all one go. And that is because it is all one big story. So let's go ahead. Ooh, sorry, bumped the mic. Let's go ahead and read the intro to this mission. Klingon front. Not the Romulan front yet. We're not going to be there for a while because of the craziness that just happened in Tribble with the new mission arrangements. Again, I'll go over those. I have already completed this mission. You don't say. I should also preface this by saying I already know everything that's going to be happening, so if I don't seem to react like I usually would, since I haven't played most of these missions in a while, that's why, because this is like my third time trying to record this. Starfleet Intelligence has completed its initial analysis of the data you found in Amar Singh's laboratory. Preliminary results show that Singh wanted to use a combination of Klingon, Augment, and Gorn DNA to create his master race, but that his initial results were less than encouraging. What troubles Starfleet Intelligence are references in Singh's notes to past events. Since Singh has said his employer was interested in time travel, do you think he and Bhavat could have been planning on manipulating the timeline for their own ends? We want you to meet with the U.S.S. Kirk. It has thwarted several Klingon attacks on medical facilities in the past few weeks. They may have another piece of the puzzle. The Kirk is on a routine patrol in the Hiromi sector within the Pycanis sector block. And let's go look at the rewards. They're crap. The rewards for the first half aren't very good. They're very lackluster, which sucks because this is the beginning of the big finale for the Klingon arc. The stakes in this mission, in this one and Past Imperfect, I'm including them together whenever I'm talking about this mission. The stakes are the highest they've been yet in the game with this mission. So, but the rewards for the first half are really lackluster. I mean, considering you're probably not going to get these, you're not going to turn it in and get these until after you finish Past Imperfect, because one literally begins right at the end of another. Past Imperfect literally picks up at the very end of City on the Edge of Never. You don't contact Starfleet to get it. You automatically get it, and you proceed as if it were the same mission. Maybe this was just a limitation or something. You know, that they didn't want to make something that big. But this mission has a lot of fat that could be trimmed. And I've said it before that it's rumored that this is going to be the target for the next remastered episode, and I really hope so. Because there's a lot of fat that can be trimmed, and like I said, the stakes are going to be the highest they've been in the game yet. In fact, the stakes in this mission are the highest they get for the majority of the game. So this has potential to be something really, really epic. Far more epic in terms of scope than even the Doomsday device, although not in scale. That's what Doomsday device always had going for it over this, is that Doomsday device always had the scale of what was going on. Whereas in this, the scope of what's at stake is really sort of implied. But let's go ahead and accept this, and let's go ahead and truck over to the Pycanis sector block. Oh, why am I clicking that? Duh. Leave the ship interior. Beaming from my ship to my ship never gets old. Deep Space Nine, no. I've been hanging out in Beta Ursae for red alerts. Or I was here last time for red alert. I really like that I spawned next to one of the docking pylons. This has been happening for a while. I think this is the way it was happening beforehand as well, but I really like it. I really like spawning next to them. Although you never spawn below it. Like the docking pylons go below as well. That's the docking ring. Like the outer ring is the docking ring, the inner ring is the habitat ring. That's where everyone lives. I'm assuming the docking ring is where all the ships dock and where you have all the docking bays and where the Defiant was moored. they've really improved Deep Space Nine for free to play. And although there aren't sweeping changes, mostly it's like the lighting is better, especially in Quarks. Oh god, Quarks looks awesome now. They have the Cisco's office. Finally, how they could have not had the Cisco's office? That's something that peeved me when I first played the game and got to the Deep Space Nine part. I'm a big Deep Space Nine fan. You know, DS9 and TNG really depends on the time of day when you ask. They're like this. They're neck and neck for me. But I really love Deep Space Nine, and I just... How could you not have included the Cisco's office? You know, I just looked through the door, and there's like this big empty space where, you know, of course they may have been considering putting something at some point, but it's just like gated off by the room's geometry now, and it's just this like big empty room beyond the door, and it's like, how could you not have put it there? And it even has the baseball too. I'm not sure if it has a model of a Daedalus though. Cisco's office, I'm sure it either had like a model of, it had various like ship models sitting in there, like a model of the Daedalus, and there's the Venture. That's the Venture Dreadnought, and that's a good looking ship. De La Cruz. That's the new ship that came out, the Venture Dreadnought. It's a new variant for the Galaxy class, which comes with a console for all versions of the Galaxy class. Like the Dreadnought, the Retrofit, and the normal version will get this skin. And it comes with a, they're calling it a +1 ship, or a point... Yeah, I think it's a +1. The community calls it a 0.5, because we're a bunch of cynical bastards. It's true. Go look at the Star Trek Online forums footage. Bleh, it's true. But it comes with the antimatter spread console, which is basically your ship fires off like these little bursts of antimatter from the phaser arrays to distract ships, and it acts like a scramble. And there's been a bit of controversy over it, because scramble really is an annoying ability. But the Venture class looks fantastic. It's actually based off one of the Perpetual ships. And there's another ship that's using components of the Venture design. It's got the neck and the pylon and the saucer. I don't really like the Venture engines, but that one was using the Envoy nacelles. And the Envoy's nacelles are probably the only part of the Envoy that I actually like. The Envoy's a piece of crap. It looks like shite. It really does. I really wish they would rework the Envoy design, replace it with something better. But tons of people are probably already using the Envoy, so they're going to be upset with those changes. I don't expect to see many Envoys anymore, though. Now that the Venture's out, thank God. That's it looks like an explosion in a girder factory. It looks ugly. Oh, that looks good. Not gonna get it though. I'm not going to get it until free-to-play, when I can earn that stipend and trade for Cryptic points. I'm not going to spend the money, because I don't have that amount. I don't have that money to spend on microtransactions. So I'm going to like get the stipend, get the dilithium, trade for Cryptic points, and earn it that way. And I don't know if I'm... He just docked. Ooh, there we go. The new wormhole. Yes, I don't think I've showed that. The very first Star Trek Online videos I did started at Deep Space Nine. And there's the wormhole. I believe I showed off the wormhole there as well. But this is a new one. It's a much more canon wormhole than before. It looks much better. Although I can't show it at its full glory because post-processing is still borked like crazy. Ever since the Season 4 upgrade, post-processing has turned everything, and I love the way it closes too, into a psychedelic mess. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this to get fixed, and I'll show you what I mean. This didn't happen before Season 4. And, like, all the stuff that I recorded before Season 4, post-processing was on. Look at that. It's nasty looking. It doesn't look good at all. Post-processing was on. So, I don't know what they did, but... Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to bigger and better and happier things. Let's go ahead and move on over to Pycanis, which is essentially a straight line from where we're at. while we're going there, I'm going to replicate a normal phaser. I like the phaser, but I like the normal phaser. I believe I've said this before. I don't like the. In fact, I think I said it. I re-recorded. No, I don't want to go to Alpha Trianguli. Why am I heading in that direction? I re-recorded Secret Orders for Blip, and I think I go on a lot about the phasers there. But just to abridge what I said in there, I don't really like. You know, I want just a normal phaser. First, I want to just have a phaser like that's just a regular phaser, like a regular hand phaser. You know, the shotguns are cool and all, but it's Star Trek, and you know, I want to have the iconic Star Trek weapon, and I want a phaser that's useful for the rest of the game. And I'm not totally spec'd out for pistol weapons. No, I don't want to go to Alpha Trianguli. I'm not totally spec'd out for pistol weapons, but I am pretty much there. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Skills. Skills! Thank you. Some people who like to twink this game a lot are probably going to be wincing at my skills, but pretty much most of the skill sets that grant bonuses to pistols I have taken, except for close combat training, which I have some out of there. Like 2 levels, that's it. But everything else that grants bonuses to pistols I have. And I'm telling you, at higher levels, they're useless. As a tactical officer, they are ridiculously useless. So I would like a phaser that was just useful, you know, that was a viable option for a tactical officer to use at the end of the game, because my officer started out as a security officer. You know, he was working like in the Tribble test server. You know, if you're a tactical officer, you're just doing your job in the armory when you're called to do all that stuff. Spawning in the wrong direction. Hate that, hate it. You know, I would just like a regular Type 2 phaser to have that iconic weapon that is useful for the entirety of the game. That would be great. I would love that. Even if it's just the STO version of it, because the STO version of it looks quite different from like the various Type 2 variants you saw in TNG onwards. And even then, they were quite different from each other, except for maybe Deep Space Nine and Voyagers. I'm not sure whether it was first introduced in First Contact or Voyager, but the Type 2 phaser with the curved handle, yeah, that's the one I'd like. Not the one in Nemesis. The one in Nemesis looked like a suppository. It did. It was tiny. It was tiny. It was like tiny and shiny and silver, and it didn't look... You know, it didn't have the weight. You know, it didn't have the presence, you know, of like the phaser from all the other movies and shows. It looked tiny. It looked kind of ridiculous. But then again, that's Nemesis for you. Has anyone reported the red alert in Regulus? Regulus is indeed hot. There we go. That was the Red Alert chat channel, which is a invaluable utility for tracking these. Keeping track of them and hearing of people's progress and confirming whether they're happening other places or not. Although, for some reason, the Red Alert chat channel on the live server is somehow tied into the Red Alert chat channel on Tribble. I'm not sure how that works or why that happened, but it did. I'm not sure how that's possible, but it happened, and I got in a little bit of trouble with that. Pycanus. Once again, spawning in the wrong direction. Yay! This way. Mine the asteroids. Yeah. What have I got? Go ahead and drop those in there. Because... Or should I just use the subspace field modulator? There's not going to be much for me. No, let's just drop that in there. There's nothing that really I don't like wasting deuterium surplus, and there's nothing that really necessitates using it in this mission. I've already got evasive maneuvers and emergency power to engines if I need a quick burst of speed to get somewhere. And the space parts of this mission are fairly short. You know, they aren't very lengthy at all. Like, the only thing that makes them even slightly, as long as they are, is essentially just the dialogue, and that's it. Most of the dialogue, though, is in ground segments. There's not much talky stuff at all. God, like third time trying to get this recorded. Oi. Can we speed up? Abusing quantum slipstream. It's not abuse. It's me using it for what it was designed for, getting places faster. Okay. JFS-47 is an area of deep space first charted by the human astronomer J. Walker Montgomery in 2256. Yes. Is that a 6 or an 8? No, it's an 8. Stupid font. Don't fade out. Stupid small font. Later Starfleet surveys confirm Montgomery's assertion that there is a stellar nursery in the region. And now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Loading. Come on, this ain't the test server. Load faster. Now, there is a glitch in this area, and that glitch is with a Klingon ship that will constantly cloak and decloak. I'll talk about that more when we get to it. This is Captain Thelen of the U.S.S. Kirk. We are under attack. We have been boarded. We need immediate assistance. Alright, I'm on my way. After I get this. So there's a Klingon ship that will constantly cloak and decloak in here. It was actually a fairly humorous moment last time. It sucked that I couldn't keep the footage. Where the thing would, like, actually took one look at me and then just sort of ran away repeatedly, cloaking and decloaking. I spent the next maybe 3 minutes bombing the area with a charged particle burst trying to find it. It just took one look at me and went, no. Let's use a little emergency power to engines. Shit. I just hit you with a hard pang. So there's a Vorsha right there. He's going to run away. And I'm going to let him. In fact, he's going to run away repeatedly. But he'll be easy to find. Because for some reason, despite the fact that he is cloaked, the U.S.S. Kirk has him targeted. So you can actually use the U.S.S. Kirk, and I'm going to switch over to Revan, who is my anti-cloak specialist. You can actually use the U.S.S. Kirk to judge where this cloaked ship is, and then decloak his ass. switch back to Lima, because Revan's not my normal science guy. He's basically just for when I'm dealing with people who use annoying cloaking tactics. Alright. Captain, the Kirk shields are down and it has taken heavy damage to engines and weapons systems. Captain, I'm reading Klingon life signs aboard the Kirk. The away team is standing by, sir. They can leave on your command. Alright. Let's go. And it's going to chug a little bit. And it's the interface that does it, and I'll show you. I'm gonna show you how much it chugs with the in-game HUD on, and then I'm gonna turn the HUD off so you can see how it works when the HUD is gone, just so you can see the massive amount of chugging that happens in this game, purely as a result of the user interface. Because the UI really needs some optimization. Why the hell did you guys beam over there? I'm picking up weapons fire in combat throughout the ship, sir. The crew of the Kirk are fighting to keep their ship. Recommend we find Captain Thelen, sir. He will know more. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my phaser, because I like the hand phaser. And that's an alright looking phaser. You know, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if there was a phaser that looked like this and not the huge, giant-handled, blue, sparkly phaser. You know, just a normal phaser that looks like a normal phaser that is useful at the end of the game. I would like that. I'd like that a lot. Of course, I also have the phaser rifle, because the phaser rifle is also a fairly... It acts like a cannon rifle as well. They have, like, the big, meaty, you know, phaser rifles that shoot huge globs of energy at things. So this one actually acts fairly like a cannon rifle. But I'm going to be using this because it fires fast, and I'll basically just have to keep pressing the 1 key. All I have to do is buff myself a little. So this starting bit, I'm going to be using the I'm going to keep the HUD on, and then I'm going to turn it off. See, watch it chug. And it's doing this partially because so much stuff is spawning. And if you watch my, when I was fighting the Borg in, like, Aurelius, Regulus, and, or, no, I believe it was Aurelius, when I was fighting them, and I was just encountering monstrous amounts of lag because of it, because of how much people were spawning, photonic fleets, and just there was all this pet spam going on. That's part of why it's chugging. The other reason is because of the in-game UI. The UI costs you frames. That's one of the reasons why I'm turning off the chat box and why I don't have the level indicator. The other reason being the level indicator is useless right now. But now I'm going to turn off the in-game UI, and I might suffer a little bit for it. You may see the fraps counter. If it starts misbehaving, I'll try and get it out. But now we're going to see... Now everything's spawning again, but look at how little it's lagging. I mean, it's still chugging just a little bit. It's still chugging a little bit, but nowhere near as much. You know, this is a rare occasion where my computer runs this game absolutely fine. Like, it renders everything, like the graphics, the effects, the textures, and it renders everything fine. However, it's the in-game UI itself that causes the trouble. And you can actually talk to these Starfleet officers, but they'll say stuff like, "Nobody, like, we can't rest on our laurels while the Klingons are here," you know, and such, or like ready to fight and stuff like that.